Welcome you all to our Mothers Out Front Massachusetts Climate Action Call. My name is Diane Sokol. I'm a member of the Brookline chapter and part of the statewide Clean Heat, Clean Air campaign. And for those who are not familiar with the Mothers Out Front Climate Action Calls, in the next 45 minutes, you will learn about a specific climate issue, and we will take focused action together. Today, we'll be getting a status update on climate bills in the Massachusetts State House. Committee members and the legislature are deliberating on a variety of bills in order to finalize the details and bring them forward for votes later this spring. We'll learn how we can include our voices in these deliberations. So here's a quick preview of the agenda for our climate action call. After a brief overview of today's focus, we will hear from Felicia Mednick of the Amherst chapter of Mothers Out Front about her local work. Next, we'll divide into breakout rooms for a few minutes so we can connect with each other. And we will rejoin the main room to hear the background information about our topic today. Then we'll move on to our action. We have set aside about 15 minutes of this call to take action together. And we'll come back together at the end for a few important announcements and next steps. And we will end this meeting promptly at 12:45. We do hope you'll stay until the end. So before we get going, I'll quickly go over a few norms for this meeting. Please rename yourself in your Zoom window to include your city or town, and if you like, an organization you're with. Be sure to mute yourself when we are together in this main room, if you are not already muted. You can use the chat to share comments or questions during the call. Closed captioning is available, and you should be able to access that at the tool at the bottom of the screen. And finally, we are recording this climate action call. If you do not want to be seen in the recording, please use the Zoom controls to turn off your video. For several years, Mothers Out Front has delivered a consistent, clear, and focused message to our state legislators. We need a gas moratorium, which means that the utility companies will no longer be allowed to build new gas pipelines or to replace existing pipelines. Instead, they will be required to retire gas pipelines as they transition their customers to heating systems powered by electricity. This is the moment to make sure that our priorities in the gas transition are included in the omnibus climate bill this legislative session. I would now like to welcome Felicia Mednick, a member of the Amherst chapter of Mothers Out Front. And Felicia is our liaison to the frontline organization, Springfield Climate Justice Coalition. Felicia will share with us her involvement in a local climate justice issue with statewide impact.
Hey, everybody. I represent Mothers Out Front at Springfield Climate Justice Coalition meetings. And the coalition is a diverse mix of youth activists, healthcare advocates, anti-poverty advocates, and climate activists. One of our members has gone on to become an influential city council member in Springfield. And Springfield is a climate justice city. And as such, it has a long history of being treated poorly. A highway, Route 95, was built to run right through and destroyed one of its poor neighborhoods. And the schools near it today have terrible air quality. 4 major polluting plants have been placed in Springfield. Springfield at times has been rated as the worst city in the entire United States for childhood asthma. It's constantly within the top 15 cities. The thought must be that people are too busy to notice, to fight exploitation, or else they don't have the political power to demand being heard, even when they do fight. By our coalition coming together, that is no longer true. The Springfield Climate Justice Coalition led the fight in preventing a highly polluting and climate warming biomass plant from being built in Springfield. But within months after that victory, Eversource decided to build a high pressure gas pipeline through parts of Springfield and Longmeadow. Besides increasing the amount of climate warming gas in the area, this pipeline has been planned to go dangerously close to schools, apartment complexes, playgrounds, and railroad tracks. So we are fighting back again. We were some of the main authors to the state who pointed out where Eversource lied about meeting the regulations for building their pipeline. The State Department of Public Utilities has now put a temporary freeze on building that pipeline. But Eversource is continuing to work and lobby to build it. It will take a state law preventing unnecessary new gas pipelines from being built for this to be stopped. This is where we all come in. We can raise our voices to let legislators know what we want. What happens in Springfield is being closely watched and may determine what will or won't happen in the rest of the state. Let's all come together as allies for the good of Springfield and for the good of our climate. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia, for sharing that story. It is a local story with statewide impact. So now we'll break into small breakout groups and connect with each other and answer this one question. What local climate justice issues are you aware of or involved with in your city or town? So Christine, if you can put that question in the chat, make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak. When you see the 15-second countdown, use that time to wrap up your conversations, and you will automatically rejoin the main room at the end. See you all soon. Okay, so I'm excited to introduce Susan Summer from Watertown. She's a new member of our Clean Heat, Clean Air campaign, and Susan will be talking through our legislative priorities. Thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Diane. As you can see, our current legislative session started in January of 2023 and will close at the end of July 2024. The Department of Public Utilities, DPU, issued an order on December 6th that sets the direction for the transition off gas. Next, we'll look at what is in the DPU order, and then at the important work legislators have to do to implement the goals the DPU laid out. We celebrated the DPU order, and it shows what can happen when there is a new sheriff in town. The Department of Public Utilities regulates the gas and electric utilities and is led by 3 commissioners. Early in 2023, Governor Healy appointed 2 new DPU commissioners to lead a transition to a clean energy economy. Their December order said definitively that gas heating is not in the Commonwealth's long-term future. The order contained many important steps towards leading the utilities to an all-electric clean heat future. Among these, they affirmed that the Commonwealth's dominant building decarbonization strategy is electrification, and they affirmed that heat pumps work for whole house heating and cooling in our cold climate without a need for backup fossil fuel systems. They ruled that utility shareholders, not ratepayers, will need to pay for development of any alternatives to natural gas, such as biogas or hydrogen, which the utility companies have been promoting, justifying continued dependence on fossil fuels. The DPU found great promise in neighborhood electrification strategies and network geothermal, which pulls temperature from the ground to heat and cool to an entire neighborhood. They ordered that each utility must propose a neighborhood electrification by 2026 that fully electrifies all buildings and shuts off the gas pipes for that neighborhood. The DPU order requires the utilities to file a climate compliance plan every 5 years, starting in 2025, which will explain how they are reducing their emissions in line with state mandates. So the next planning step is back into the hands of the utilities. While monumental, the DPU order did not create a complete plan to transition off gas. Much more work will need to be done by the DPU, the utilities, and the legislature. The DPU order was also clear about some steps the legislature must take to mandate a clean heat future. We've heard that people, including legislators, think the job is done thanks to the DPU order, but it's not. Legislators have important work to do immediately to implement the goals the DPU laid out. So now we are here. Our state representatives and senators who are members of the TUE, that's the Joint Telecommunications, Utilities, and Energy Committee, are deliberating on a wide variety of legislation before them. House and Senate TUE members are still meeting separately at this time. We know that the House and Senate TUE chairs are each currently drafting their own omnibus climate bills, as has been done in previous legislative sessions. This is our moment to make sure that the Mothers Out Front priorities are addressed in the final omnibus bill. Senate TUE Chair Barrett is our focus today. We will be reaching out to him through our other state senators. Senator Barrett will be taking elements from bills in his committee and combine the provisions he supports into one bill. The Future of Clean Heat bill addresses many of the legislative changes the DPU would like to see. This bill has been a centerpiece of our Clean Heat, Clean Air campaign for the past year. We are asking our senators to continue to amplify that priority. The bill sets out a comprehensive strategy for an efficient, cost-effective, and just transition off gas to a system where buildings are heated and cooled with renewable thermal energy. The bill requires gas companies to plan a neighborhood-by-neighborhood retirement of the gas system and allows them to electrify homes by selling thermal energy, which is from air source or ground source heat pumps. This utility scale problem can't be solved at the individual level, as that would result in those least able to afford it footing the bill for the whole gas system. We need a strategic plan and a utility scale solution. In the Future of Clean Heat legislation, when an area is identified for gas pipeline replacement due to leak-prone pipes, instead of replacing the pipes, gas companies or their competitors must electrify the entire area, called zonal electrification, whenever feasible. A utility can make the investment and arrange for a cluster of neighborhoods, a zone, to get the weatherization, electric service upgrades, electric appliances, and heat pumps they need. The conversion doesn't depend on individual homeowners acting alone, and the leak-prone pipes are retired. Such a project is currently being piloted in Framingham, Mass., where a geothermal network is being installed in a neighborhood. Using a shared infrastructure for many buildings creates a broad customer base and the possibility of utility scale financing. In addition to supporting the entire Future of Clean Heat bill, we want to bring to your attention 3 important priorities that Senator Barrett is considering putting into the omnibus climate bill. He needs to hear from us and from other senators about these provisions because he's not sure if there is enough support for them to pass. If he doesn't include them in the omnibus bill, then we will be ready to advocate for them to be added as amendments when the time comes. Let me quickly describe these 3 priorities. First off, we want the legislation to change the requirements around how utilities operate. Currently, the utilities are obligated to provide gas to customers. We want them to be required to provide heat, thus allowing them to switch to electric and network geothermal heat sources. Secondly, the state needs a moratorium that stops any expansion of the gas system, since the recent DPU order has directed the utilities to transition away from gas. This moratorium will protect ratepayers from paying for new infrastructure that is not needed and will soon be obsolete. We specifically support the moratorium bill, S2135, designed to stop the Springfield Longmeadow pipeline proposal. Our third specific priority seeks to focus the utilities construction program on triage and transition. Fix the major leaks while you transition to providing electric heat. Currently, the gas companies are rebuilding their gas infrastructure to create the gas-filled future they desire with our dollars through a program called the Gas System Enhancement Plan, or GSEP. This program was enacted in 2014 to address the high number of gas leaks throughout the state, allowing utilities to charge ratepayers to replace leak-prone pipes. However, GSEP has become a boondoggle for utilities. and is expected to cost ratepayers over $40 billion at its current pace as gas companies replace pipes under our streets with new pipes capable of carrying hydrogen and biomethane, products which the DPU has now made clear are not part of the Commonwealth's future. These red dots on the map are the utilities' pipe replacement plans for the next 5 years. Given our state's mandate to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, those plans make no sense. Instead of pouring billions into pipe replacement, gas companies should take the much more conservative and economical approach of repairing pipes with the worst leaks and speeding up the transition off piped gas. The gas utilities must stop wasting ratepayer and taxpayer resources building a shiny new gas system. We need to be investing this money into renewable zero-emission energy systems. We can't afford to continue with gas and electrify our buildings. We have to choose our future. We are reaching out to Senator Barrett for action today because he has already expressed interest in the legislation we want. The Future of Clean Heat bill, utilities as heat providers, a moratorium on gas system expansion, and changes to GSEP to prioritize the transition off gas. Senator Barrett needs to know that we will support him and advocate for this with our local state reps and senators. From what we hear, Barrett has not yet finalized his omnibus bill, so we still have a chance to influence the details in the legislation. Now we'll hear from Andra Rose about the specific action we will be taking today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andra Rose, member of the Clean Heat, Clean Air campaign team. Today's action has two parts. First, sending an email to your state senator. And second, if you have time, calling your state senator's office to reinforce that message. Deb will put the link for the action toolkit in the chat. Click on that link, and in the toolkit that comes up, you'll find a link to search for the name and email address of your state senator. Make sure to look for your state senator, not your representative. You can use their email address to first send them an email based on the sample we have in the toolkit. You'll be using your own email account to send the message. Please customize the sample, especially the subject line. You'll see that we also ask you to BCC us so we can count how many emails are sent. For those of you whose senator is Michael Barrett, there is a separate sample email to direct to him that you'll see. If you have time during today's action, please also call and leave a voicemail for your state senator. Phone calls are often more impactful than emails. If they get 10 telephone calls about a particular issue, that's extraordinary, and they really do take notice of even a few calls. There's a sample phone script for you to use, and again, a separate one for Senator Barrett as well. Now, Diane's going to go over a few details before we begin the action.
Thank you, Andra. Deb is going to drop the toolkit link into the chat one more time. We're all going to be quiet for the next few minutes so we can take these actions together. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. If you're really struggling with the tech during this call, don't worry, because you will get all of these instructions by email in another day or so. But if possible, it would be great to get the action done right now. So see you back here at 12:40, and we'll leave this slide up just for a minute or two. It really inspires me to take these actions together. These calls make me so helpful about our future because it's going to take a lot of people to tip the scales in favor of real climate solutions. We should never doubt the impact that working together can have. When we gather together and also join forces with our allies, we can be a real force for change. In the next day or so, you will receive a follow-up email. It will have the toolkit we shared today, a PDF of these slides, and a recording of this call. We encourage you to forward that email to your friends and your colleagues across the Commonwealth to get this message out to all of our state senators across Massachusetts. You can tell your friends about what you learned today and the critical need to take action now. So a few announcements here. Mothers Out Front hosts a welcome call every month. The next one is this Friday, February 9th at noontime. If you are new to Mothers Out Front or looking for a new role, we hope you will join us. Maybe you've asked yourself, what more could I be doing to stop climate change? If so, this is the right event for you. In this Zoom call, we will work to help you identify the U-shaped hole in this movement. We want to help you find ways to use your unique talents, your skills, your experiences to help us build a stronger, more effective, and more inclusive movement for change. So join us and bring a friend. Deb will put the link to RSVP for that call in the chat. And it's great to see so many of you participating in these climate action calls every month. We're always looking for new volunteers to join us behind the scenes, whether it is a simple task during the call or for help producing the presentation in the few weeks before. All volunteers are welcome. You can email us to let us know if you can help out and what sort of help you can provide. Deb will put Christine's email in the chat and you can get in touch with Christine. And finally, we want this climate action call to be on your calendar every month. Our next climate action call will be on Tuesday, March 5th at noontime. Watch your email for more information and for the registration link. So again, many thanks to all of you for joining to take action together today. Special thanks to our speakers and our tech support team working behind the Zoom screen here. Do watch your email for the follow-up info to share with others to spread our action. And we hope to see you again next month, Tuesday, March 5th at noon.